liquid belly pork. It's a cut of meat that's beneficial for being cooked slow and long. We're going to do that. Cider is a really good way of cooking belly pork. I used to cook it in cider, artisanal cider, whatever you want to call it. We're going to do it in beer. What I would recommend is using a low hopped beer. Now, Cool Fusion is great because we put no hops in at the beginning of the boil. Onions and garlic and ginger. The point with this is you're going to get all the aromas and flavours of these bits and pieces in there. Get the ginger. Just roughly cut that up. Cut the scraggy ends of the celery off. Probably wouldn't matter if you didn't, you know, just roughly chop it up. This is going to be double cooked pork. Top and tail, the carrots, and cut them up roughly. However, I quite like to cut them down the centre, as I did with the stock, but I'm going to just to make a bit more space. This is Cool Fusion, ginger, garlic, lemongrass in there. Anne didn't get me the lemongrass out. Would you like to get me some lemongrass out? Because I think I'll stick this in there as well. And just enough really, you just want enough liquid, whatever you use, whether it be white wine or cider, just enough to cover everything. Do you know what I didn't do? What I didn't do?
Drink it. Where's mine?
Sorry. We've got chilli, ginger, lemongrass, garlic, onion in the liquid that we're cooking the pork in. And I'm going to say that we're going to do that for about 6 hours or more at as low a heat as I can possibly get it on. What we'll do is we'll stick it in the oven for about half an hour on a high heat. Once I get it to a simmer, I shall turn the oven right down to 100. Somewhere there's a lid. So we'll put our oven on about 180 for now. Me in due course, excuse me.
Excuse me?
Yeah, well you can have some as well in a minute. So we'll put that in the oven and we'll come back to that in a little bit. So this is the...
My tea.
Your tea, yeah. This is the slow cooked pork. So we'll put the pork out. Would you like to get me a plate out? To put it on? Yeah.
Size, shape?
Just a plate, a big plate. You can see that's quite tender and cooked. The skin, of course, will make lovely crackling.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just going to take the skin off because I want to roast that off separately to make a nice crunchy crackling separately. So that skin, which I'm actually going to divide into several portions. But that will probably make, what, 6 good portions, shall we say? So what I'm going to do is cut the skin into 6 portions. When we roast it off, it'll already be in the portions to sit on top. Through quickly, again, try and divide it into 6 roughly equal portions. So let's put that on there. And we'll decide what we're going to do with that next. Because it has got quite a lot of fat in, thought we'll sieve it. All these vegetables and stuff, I know you're going, oh what a waste, you're going to throw those away. But they are sort of done.
So would you sieve it before you whisk it up?
Well, this is what I'm doing. I'm sieving out, and what's doing all the lumps of fat that we don't really want.
Don't want it too fat.
Don't want it too. No, don't want to get too fat. We're going to finish off this pork belly. Make some nice crackling, and we're going to. We've got Alfie here to help us today. We're going to do that with some mashed potato. Now, the best way to do mashed potato, in my view, is to take some baked potatoes and scoop the middle out. So we get Alfie.
Scoop them out.
You can scoop them out. So we're going to do belly pork, with mashed potatoes, and we're going to do some butter sweated cabbage.
What do you want to do with the skins?
Well, just put the skins on one side. We might roast them in the oven later. There you go. Put the skins in there. Yeah. Try and
keep the brown bits off.
You need to try and keep these brown bits off. You see, it makes the mashed potato go quite brown. But the thing is, if you use potatoes baked in the skin, you get a drier flesh, and your mashed potato will be more flavoursome, solid, less watery than if you just use boiled potatoes. But what I'm also doing is I've got the stock, everything that was cooked in the belly pork. We're going to reduce that down a little and make a nice rich sauce. We'll start off really hot oven here. and we'll do our crackling first. So here's the pork skin, just so thus far been boiled, little squares of pork skin. So that's going to go in a nice hot oven in a minute. And the secret to good crackling is pretty much fairly simple. Lots of heat and lots of salt. So yeah, Alfie's doing the potatoes.
Tempting to.
And we've got an irksome camera person in the way. Sharp knife, it will be. Cabbage, I think, the green veg, should prefer not to do, just boiled. Nicely shredded.
Your juice has started to boil now, Dad. Do you want to?
No, we want to reduce that.
Yeah, but
So it needs to stay boiling.
stay boiling.
Because what we're trying to do is boil off all the excess liquid and make a reduction.
Cabbage?
Yeah, cabbage. Here's the potato.
I'm not happy with the potato.
Potato.
So there's the potato.
The brown bits of the potato.
It doesn't really matter, it's just an aesthetics thing. We've got our potato here. So, you see, okay, it's not as white as white skinned potatoes that have been peeled and then boiled. So there's our mash. Let's just,
That sounded good.
crackling's coming along nicely. To give the mashed potato a little bit of a taste test. Now, that tastes really nice. Now, an ordinary mashed potato, you try to taste that ordinary mashed potato without any seasoning or maybe any fat or anything like that in it, it'd be quite insipid.
Bland.
Bland and insipid, a bit like,
Yeah.
I don't know, a bit like a traditional English real ale, really. I didn't say
Shh. You don't know who's watching.
that. We'll find out when the complaints start running in. Anyway,
What we're doing with the pork.
what we're doing with the pork, now that's a good question. It's not cheating to use a microwave. A microwave is a damn fine piece of culinary equipment. We could start to warm these through
In the microwave.
We could stick them in the oven, but what would happen is it would dry them out. So we're just going to cover that to keep the moisture in, but we're just going to stick them in the microwave.
For how long?
Full power for 2 minutes, I'm going to suggest. Oh, you see, look at that. That's. So you see.
Pork here as well. Ready?
Well, the rate this is going, we're going to be done in a minute. The mashed potato's cold. Now there is really only one sensible way to reheat mashed potato. I don't care what anybody says.
The microwave.
So just, yeah, put that in there for a minute and then give it a stir and then put it in for another minute. We'll have some butter, shall we, Alfie, I think?
Butter. There you go.
A little bit of butter.
Shall I just use the mashing machine?
So we'll just melt the butter down. Tiny little bit of salt in the butter. There's your cabbage.
Okay.
Just sort of get that cooking. You've got to be careful not to let it burn.
Spring onion. Well, I don't know about the main camera, but this one keeps chopping Alfie's head off because he's too tall.
Is that better?
Yeah.
It's just bad luck.
Oh!
Right, mix them in. Did you put 3 plates in the oven, Alfie?
I did indeed.
Like doing a sort of dry cook method and then letting the whole thing just sweat, you actually end up with a nice, crisp, fresher taste.
I'm thinking about another minute, but I'm going
You don't want to overheat it, actually. No, that's good, that's good. There's the sauce, just quickly thickened it with some corn flour. That doesn't really need a lot else. You know what? I don't need anything else doing to it. Nice bit of potato there. Going to put the gravy around the outside. Gravy, sauce, call it what you want. Right, Alfie, would you like to start putting a portion of meat on top of each of those? We've got 6 lumps. What would match with this? I mean, Azimuth, infrared. I prefer cabbage like this to it being soft and soggy and Alfie?
Yeah?
Do we not need the cracking out the oven?
We do. Bit of crackling on top.
Bit of cracking on top. Yeah, go on. Oh, cracking on top of there. We've got some Azimuth in the fridge, which I think will work with this.
Oh, we've gotten.
Well done then. So, I'm going to try this with Azimuth. Oh, look, it's a bit lively. Fantastic. Fizzy beer, it'll never catch on, you know.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Try this. Yeah, you know, no, that mash is lovely. And the pork, when you taste the flavours that have permeated the pork.
Crackling's perfectly crackled.
Somebody say something, I can't answer, I've got crackling in my mouth.
I'm trying to decide if this Azimuth goes well. I think it does.
Success?
Yep. Carry on. Good food. Good beer.
Well,
Good life.
if you're enjoying these Hardknott Brewer's Kitchen, it does take quite a lot of effort to put these videos together. So, we would actually appreciate, well, the main thing is buy Hardknott beer. That's the best reward.